Hello, this is Lyssa Royal Holt here, and finally, after years of having the Galactic Heritage Cards out, I'm finally going to give you this little bit of a tutorial. So please consider this the introduction to the Galactic Heritage Cards, Part 1. Okay, so there's lots of things I want to go over today. And probably you're watching this video because you have already purchased the Galactic Heritage Cards, and perhaps you are not sure how to use them, or you know how to use them but you want to go deeper. So I'm just going to give some overview about things to pay attention to as you start learning to use these cards. First, I'm going to give you just a little bit of a background. For those of you who are familiar with my past work, you will know that these Galactic Heritage Cards are based on my book, The Prism of Lyra, which was channeled in 1989 originally. So initially these cards were created to help individuals tap into information about their celestial roots, their celestial heritages, but it goes a lot deeper than that. Okay, so first of all, just as a background, I will let you know that the cards were originally channeled to me, the whole system, in 2010. And quite honestly, when the information first came to me, it came kind of in a lump, like a big ball of yarn that I didn't quite know how to untangle. But I followed it step by step, created the cards, and when all was said and done and the system was created, there ended up being 108 cards, which, as some of you may know, that number is a sacred number in some ancient traditions on the planet. But still, I didn't quite understand how to use them. That was a very, very strange situation for me to channel a system that even I did not know how to use. So I've been learning to use it with many of you as well. Luckily now it's been about 4 years, and I've given hundreds of readings for people with the cards in the channeled state. So I've been learning more and more how to use them and how deep you can go with the information and the insights. I also personally use them pretty much on a daily basis as well, and am kind of shocked at how accurate and pointed they can be sometimes. So we're going to explore some of the basic ideas today about how to get started and how to see the cards from an overview perspective. So as I said, there are 108 cards. They're numbered from 1 to 108. The general idea is that there is a flow of energy that moves from card number 1 to card number 108. And that flow mirrors the information that was given in the book, The Prism of Lyra. So for instance, card number 1 is a card that represents the physical universe and the beings coming into the physical universe right after the initial fragmentation. So as you progress in the numbers then, there is more and more fragmentation as souls begin to fragment and move and inhabit the physical universe. So as you progress through the numbers of the cards, you have some of the non-physical civilizations first, and then you have the civilizations of Lyra and Vega, which are really most of the forefather civilizations for us. And then now the energy's moving into the farthest frequencies of separation and polarity. And there you have the Orion civilization. Then once we go into the deepest levels of polarity, the numbers are still going up of the cards, and now we start moving into the healing, the integration aspect of our galactic family, which is really where we are now on Earth at this time. As you continue to progress through the cards, then we go into the higher aspects of our galactic family that are more integrated and more awakened. And finally, we end at card number 108, which the theme for that card is emptiness, which is basically the idea of returning back to the source, becoming one again. So underlying the energy of the cards then, it's our representational journey from separation to integration, expressed in a linear way. However, some of you will notice that on the cards there's a background graphic. And the artist of the cards, a wonderful man from Hong Kong, a film producer and artist, David Cow, created a background graphic that spans all the cards when they're laid on a grid. And that background graphic is representative of our journey from separation to fragmentation. So that energy is also embedded in each of the cards. Okay, so in the early days of using the cards, in Japan, I tried to teach some workshops about how to use the cards. And while I can teach the information in a kind of a foundational way, what I learned early on is that the system very much depends upon the intuitive capacity of the person using the cards. If you try to read the cards only from the descriptions in the book, then you're only going to get a very two-dimensional picture of how much information and insight the cards can provide. So I really recommend, if you are wanting to use the cards, number one, that you become familiar with the information of Prism of Lyra and our galactic family as a way to give you some of that foundational information, but also that you begin more and more to rely on your own intuition. So in that way, this system is very different, for instance, than the traditional tarot systems that people are familiar with, because the system is very fluid. It's very holographic. It accesses the accesses the energy of the hologram of which we are all a part. So the minute you start trying to read the cards linearly, which is what the mind wants to do, is really the minute that we start shutting off the great amount of depth that can be accessed through the cards. So I have here a sample layout. Now, I've said before that you really have to use your intuition. We've created some layouts for you to use, but really, ultimately, we'd like you to experiment and use what works for you. So this is the main layout that I use, and this information is in the book, okay? The book that comes with the cards. But the main layout is a 7-card layout, and the particular way I was trained by my channeled sources on how to lay out these cards is in a spiral form. So I've laid out these cards. You can see there are some arrows. I've laid the cards out in this order, even though the order doesn't matter. The first card, second card, third card, fourth card, fifth card, sixth card, seventh card. So you can see it's spiraling inward. And that, for me, helps to activate the energy. And now when I can see a layout, I immediately start getting downloads from the initial few seconds based on whether the reading is more of a past life kind of reading, or whether it is a reading that has to do with what your gifts and skills or mission is in this life, or perhaps it has to do with what you're here to release. There are many, many different types of information that can be accessed through this. Now, one other thing I do want to say that has to do with the information that you will read about the cards in the book. The information in the book, as I've said, is really just one layer. What we've found as we've worked with the cards is that there are many, many, many layers to the information of the cards. And I'm going to talk about that in the next video, because I am going to stop now and let you digest what I've said so far, and another video will follow soon. Thank you.